Aloha and welcome to Spirit Chat Radio. Today I'm going to be talking about spirit awareness. I'm going to do a podcast on this because I actually did a post on this the other day on Facebook and people were wondering about it and they were asking questions. I thought it would be a good thing to elaborate on a little bit more. For those of you who've been following me or if you're new, I do these things called energy reports, and the reason I started doing them is because I was finding that it was really helpful for other people as they begin to tune into their spiritual bodies more. Now, to kind of cover that, if you're new to all of this, I'm just going to sort of cover it lightly because I've done a lot of podcasting on this, which is everybody knows this, we're kind of moving into a new era. As we're moving into a new era, the universal energy is becoming more spiritually based. And so why you should care, why does it even matter? Because most people who view themselves as my family and my extended family likes to be like, no, Jen, I'm just normal. I'm normal. So most people who view themselves as normal are going to start finding that they're having a lot of sensations that they are not used to and that they're probably not familiar with. And that is because regardless of if you view yourself normal or not normal like myself, the spiritual body is beginning to be primary, and it's sort of coming out of what I would call more of a dormant state. It's always there. It's always working. No matter when you were born, whether it was in the 1900s or 2000s, whatever, you were always born with this ability, and you were born with these two bodies working in tandem. You were born with the physical body, which is self-explanatory, and your spiritual body brings your physical body to life. A lot of people are under the impression that everything that they feel is their spiritual body, when that's not the case. Many things that you are feeling and tuning into with your physical or your spiritual body, I did say physical body, right? They're under the impression that everything is, that they can feel with their physical body is everything's physical. Anyways, with your spiritual body, you do also get a lot of feelings. You just do. It is. You can feel with your spiritual body, even though that some people can't really see it. And it's interesting to me. I guess it's because I think that most people don't think of themselves as having necessarily a spiritual body, which is kind of interesting because most people know that they have a soul and a spirit, regardless of what that they believe. But I think that they kind of view that as sort of invisible or something that they can't see that's tangible, like their physical body. So they assume that their physical body has all the feelings, the physical feelings, and their spiritual body does not, but that's actually not the case. So there are many different sensations that you will feel with your spiritual body. Your brain and your consciousness sometimes, or your thought process, will immediately go, oh, I'm feeling this in the chest center, or I'm feeling this in my gut, or I'm feeling tingly, or I'm feeling all of these different things that definitely must be tied to a physical issue or something physically based. Like I'm obviously experiencing something physical, and then they try to figure out what it is from there. Well, that really trips people up when they can't figure it out, and sometimes they go to the doctors, and the doctors are like, yeah, you're fine, and then you're still going, no, but I feel all these things, and it becomes kind of confusing for people. So, as most everyone is now going to be experiencing their spiritual body sensations, you will also be experiencing things that are spiritual energy, such as energy waves. You will be experiencing universal energy, and you will experience spiritual energy. Hence the post, the spirit awareness post that I did, and it's something that I think catches people sort of off guard. And like I said, immediately they start going, oh, well, it must be this or that or the other thing. So, for instance, what I mean by that is sometimes we will get waves in, universal waves that can cause people to feel energetic, cause people to feel lethargic, can cause actual hiccups in your day, whether you're feeling like you're just having this bump and this bump and this bump. It can cause your dreams to shift. Universal energy, as your spiritual body responds to it, will cause different. They'll have cause and effect, different things happening. Some are good, some are weird, some are not so good. I mean, it's just happening. And as people are beginning to not be able to ignore their spiritual body anymore because it's becoming so primary and dominant and so powerful with this universal shift in energy, it's becoming confusing for people. So that's why I would do these energy reports. So basically, I can feel energy and I can feel it, how it affects my own life. And so I can feel when we're having some really intense energy waves and then things are happening and shifting and it's not related to specific events. I can always tell it's an energetic wave. I've been doing it for a long time, so I can easily feel the separation. And so I would do these posts and I would post them and people would be like, oh my gosh, thank God you did this because I am experiencing these things and I thought that it was, something entirely different. So people are becoming more aware of these waves and how they're affecting their life. One of the things I wanted to talk about today, again, long roundabout way to get here, is spirit awareness. So with these waves will also be times that spirit activity is higher or lower. And it's funny because as I was trying to explain this, I have this vision of I really need to figure out how to do like a half pie chart, like where they do like the fire index is higher or lower, extreme or not so extreme or whatever. I would like to eventually have a spirit index that can tell you if the spirit activity or veil is thinning so that the spirit activity is going to be higher or lower. Because I think that would be really helpful for people to know, like, if they're going to be feeling some more intense energy at that point in time, or if they're going to be feeling maybe not so intense energy. And people don't really care if they're not feeling so intense energy because then they feel more like their old selves again, like before their spiritual body was trying to not be dormant for them anymore. They feel more normal. And then when the spiritual body starts really, when the energy comes around and it magnifies your spiritual body, when the energy waves are intense, then it becomes more confusing. So that's when it becomes helpful. So anyways, recently we had a high spirit awareness or high spirit index, I will call it. What is that? Why do you need to know about it? Why am I even talking about this, right? Because I think that you can find it, I think that you will find it helpful when you start to understand how to work with these new waves and how to understand how it's affecting your spiritual body. So, for instance, when we have a higher spirit index, like the veil would be thinner. We might have an intense energy wave or cycle happening. It can be affected by planetary alignment. So there's a lot of things that can affect it. Some things are predictable, some things are not so predictable, like the planetary alignment and that sort of stuff. That's predictable. Energy waves and cycles and different things, they're like weather patterns. So you can predict them somewhat sometimes, and other times they just go rogue and take a crazy turn, right? So thinning veils, somebody had asked me what a veil is, and it's basically an energetic, I would say an energetic curtain that sort of separates two dimensions. So that would be an energetic curtain that separates our physical dimension with the spiritual dimension. And when it thins, it's easier to cross both dimensions. It's easier for us to cross over into their dimension and have spirit contact or astral travel or do different things that we do. It's easier for them to cross into the physical dimensions and also like touch you on the arm or like try to communicate with you or whatever that they're doing. So when the veil thins, it's easier to go into either dimensions. And so that, don't spend time trying to figure that out, because like as far as when it's thinner waves, whatever, because you'll just feel frustrated. But here's some things that happens when we have a higher spirit index. And here's some things that happen. Happens. It's like I can't talk today. When you're having higher spirit activity as well. So you could use this podcast to understand you may have higher spirit activity at that point in time in your life, or the spirit index could be high at that point in time in your life. It's a lot of times it's high in my house and around us anyways, but it can get like intensely high sometimes. So electrical issues, phones, computers. Oh my gosh, my phone just kept shutting off yesterday. I have another friend who is a colleague of mine, and she could not for the life of her get her computer to work. We were having some major technical difficulties, electrical difficulties, anything digital. It's nuts. So I definitely, because I'm so aware of it, once my computers and phones start wigging out, I know that the spirit index is high in my household or around me or just in general at that time. Instead of trying to push through it, especially when it comes to electrical stuff, I just like give up. Like I just take a day away from it or something, go do something else, come back and try to finish it later. But definitely take a break, because you will want to drop kick your computer out the window. I promise you that. So, feeling more drained than usual, that can come with energy waves, but it can also come with a thinner veil and a higher spirit index. The reason is you can naturally be drawn to the spiritual side. When you sleep, you connect in with the spiritual side. It can be because the energy's higher, or that people are trying to connect with you, spirits are trying to connect with you. It can be a lot of different things, but that can be an effect of having a higher spirit index. Your perspective is skewed. So if you find that you are naturally or normally a positive person, and you're finding that you're having thoughts of like, oh, I can't do this, or less than positive thoughts, or you're having a why even bother sort of attitude, that's a pretty good indication that the spirit index is high around you, or just high in general, and that you are having some spirits trying to potentially bring your vibration down. If your perspective is skewed. Now, it can be skewed the other way too. It can be also skewed in the way that maybe normally you are pessimistic, and all of a sudden you have, oh, I could probably do this. That means that you have some other support as far in the spirit realm, and that they are also trying to lift your vibration and raise you up a little bit, and that could be guides and angels and that sort of thing, because maybe you're less resistant at that time. Most people are less resistant because the energy becomes so intense, and they can sort of dominate a little bit better than normal. And usually you can ignore. Usually it's people are trained to ignore. They train themselves to ignore, or they think that it's their own thoughts. And the thing with your perspective being skewed one way or the other is spirits like to talk with you telepathically. Super common, and a primary way of communication. Even if you're astral traveling or on the other side, you will find that you often are telepathically speaking with spirits. Your mouth is not moving. That's just how it goes down over there. So they like to talk with you telepathically. People like to think that that's all their own thoughts, which I find interesting. But that's what you're taught. You're taught you have a thought, and that's your thought, So, but again, these are people who have not been taught otherwise. And now, then people go, well, how do I know if it's my own thought? Like, then it kind of freaks them out. Don't be freaked out. It doesn't matter. If it freaks you out, just pretend like you never said anything. That'll be good. But um, you can tell the difference because usually your thought process has a beginning, middle, and end. You know, you're actually thinking of something that leads you to the next thought, leads you to the next thought, next thought, whatever. Thoughts that just randomly pop in your head, oftentimes or not your great, wonderful ideas that just popped in your head, or whatever. You're not so great, wonderful ideas. Usually, that's a telepathic communication that you're receiving, but because you can kind of hear it as your own internal dialogue, unless you're trained to separate. When you're sort of trained to separate, you will notice the different. The dialogue will feel different than your own dialogue that you have, your own internal dialogue. But that's a whole spirit communication class that I'm working on, and that takes a lot more training. So, you know, anyways, let's go on to the next one. Vivid dreams. Dreams will get crazier, more intense. You might remember them more. So, vivid dreams, weird dreams, crazy dreams. That is really common when the spirit index is high. And insomnia or not sleeping well, that is something that is super common when the spirit index is high, because nighttime is like when spirit activity is higher anyways. That's just a natural thing. So nighttime, it's always higher. If the spirit index is high or the veil is thinner, it's even going to be higher at nighttime. And so many times that can cause you to have insomnia or not be sleeping very well because of the energy is really intense at that time. You may not notice it. You may feel agitated. You may just feel like rolling around and whatever. But you're feeling that shift in energy, and you're in. We've talked about this before. But when you're sleeping, when you drift off to sleep, you are actually, connecting with you're raising your vibration. You're connecting in with the spirit realm. That's what you're doing when you're sleeping. So when you find it difficult to, settle down enough because the energy's feeling different, it's hard for you to relax yourself into a state of raising our vibration and connecting in, because the energy's feeling jacked up or weird or intense. And so that will cause insomnia or not cause you not to sleep well. And or sometimes the activity is kind of so high that it's like it's like a second wind thing. It's like it's just keeping you up, like no, it's time to not sleep. It's time to be up and do stuff. And so that can be how your spiritual body's sort of reacting, is like being active, because the spirit activity is active. So your spiritual body is like, hey, let's be active. So it can be a couple of different reasons, but it definitely can cause insomnia or not sleeping well. Also, I'm just going to add this in because I get asked about this a lot. That's why people often wake up at 3 a.m. One of the highest points of spiritual activity during the 24-hour period would be 3 a.m. So that's why you often wake up. Sometimes people don't realize it, but they'll just be like, oh, my eyes just opened. But sometimes you actually will hear or connect in with some type of spiritual activity, and that can jolt you awake as well. And something that also is super common would be more or unusual spirit activity during that time. That would be something that if, maybe you're not normally hear spirit activity, or like things will fall off the counter, or you'll hear knocking, or, just regular spirit activity stuff. You'll see things, but they'll move things physically, whatever. Or maybe you have high spirit activity like we normally do in our house, and maybe it's higher, or just unusual spirit activity. Maybe you have certain regular things that happens with spirits, and then now new weird things are happening, or new different things. I don't like to call them weird all the time. And also feeling more intense energy, or your awareness is heightened. That's a super common thing with the spirit index being heightened. Your psychic senses, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, any of that, if you're an empath, all of that, it very often will feel heightened during that time. So we had roughly, sorry if I hit the microphone there, we had roughly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 signs of a high spirit index. That's probably what I should have started this the show as, but yeah, basically 7 signs of a high spirit index. So those are some very common signs. And so if you're experiencing those things, just same thing I always talk about, just kind of read your body. If you're feeling more tired than normal, then just try to get some more sleep. Or, if you're, and you might feel more tired than normal because you're having insomnia at night. So a lot of times when the spirit index is high, you're going to be able to sleep better during the daytime, take naps, early nighttime sleeping. That's going to be a better time for you. So you may have to adjust your schedule. So, it's not gonna, it's hard to predict how long that these last, just like in energetic waves. Sometimes they come in for a few days, sometimes they come in for a few weeks. But do keep in mind that sometimes when you're tuning into your own spiritual body and when you're learning to develop and grow on a spiritual level, you can also bring in your own spirit, raise your own spirit index in your household or around your own being. You can just raise it just by tuning in and being more aware. Because the more aware you are, the more tuned in you are. Usually, your guides and angels and spirits tend to recognize that because you become a different color as you raise your vibration. That's a whole thing. So they're very drawn. Like how, this is going to sound funny, but you know how mosquitoes are drawn to like certain bodies, heat or whatever, or like bugs are drawn to light, like how they're drawn to it. When you raise your vibration, spirits know they're drawn into your circle. Now that reminds me of my cousin, because my cousin, who thought she had a lot of physical things, had actually stayed with me recently. And she's like, I get, sometimes when I'm allergic to something, if she's listening, she's going to laugh. I get really, really hot on and it's something mysteriously, like I have no idea what it is, but I get really hot, like on my ears down to my chin and whatever. And I said, that is not you being allergic to something, that is you channeling. When you channel, you will get really hot from your ears down to your chin, and it will be hot to the touch, and it will turn red, and you're raising your vibration. And now she just happened to be staying in a room that we have very high spirit activity in my house, one of the highest spirit activity rooms, which I did not tell her before she stayed there, not really thinking I needed to, because I just don't want to just freak out people if I don't need to. Some people don't like that. And she looked at me and was just like, "No, Jen, I am normal." I said, "Okay, well, where did you get this, this heat, and when did this happen?" I said, "Were you in the blue room?" And she's like, yeah. Okay. Well, I hate to tell you, and then I had to explain to her, we have higher spirit activity in that house. And anyways, the whole point being, when you connect in and channel, and you get that red and that heat going in, usually you're connecting in with spirits. And she wasn't very down with that. She just insisted she was normal for the rest of the trip. I have a lot of people who there's so many people, even a lot of you, who think you're normal. When I start pointing out things, it's interesting to me how many people think that they're normal until or what they call normal. You know what? Normal is being spiritual. That's, in my brain, that's normal. Normal is connecting with your spiritual senses. Like, that's super normal and way easier than not, because you have way more guidance and awareness and way more info to make good decisions and choices. And everybody wants to be normal, as what they call, as in ignoring all of this their spiritual senses. That's normal to them. And so it's a joke around my household with some of the people who are in our lives that want to be normal. And I point out to them often, see what happens every time they have an experience. Well, see, look at how that worked out. They'll know somebody calls before they call. Yeah, it was really weird, huh? Really weird how normal you are. and they get so frustrated. No, I'm normal. And like I said, you know what? I think normal is way overrated. Way overrated. I think that once the fear goes away, you're not going to want to be what, quote unquote normal, as people like to label themselves. So, anyways, I hope that you found these signs helpful, these 7 signs of a high spirit index. And I hope that you kind of understand a little bit more of what's happening with spirit awareness in your spiritual body. Everybody's changing. You're changing. If you're listening to this, you're changing. You may not understand it yet. You may not be fully aware of it yet because you've trained yourself to be normal, like all my funny cousins and stuff. But you're shifting and you're changing. That's a good thing. It's such a cool thing. The more that you learn to connect, and the more that you just learn to observe and be aware, even if you are having your ups and downs and you're feeling insomnia and your phone's not working and you want to take a nap during the daytime, too many cool things comes with it. You begin to. It's like the more that you tune in, it's like you become more whole. It's like you have you feel more powerful than you have before. You feel this energy that you really carry with you, and it's really such an amazing feeling. You can feel like, wow, I can do. You have this internal core feeling that you can do a lot of things that people would say, oh, you could never do that. Like you have this internal core confidence that. No, I could really accomplish these things. Like, I don't know why, but I really know I can. I really know I can, And that's an awesome feeling. Like, that's such a good connection to have with spirit and yourself and all of that. Yeah, you'll have your ups and downs, but you know what? Everybody has their ups and downs, right? It doesn't matter if you're just ignoring the spirit world. You just live in the physical world. I mean, come on. Physical world, ups and downs, that's like middle name. That's like the physical world's middle name is ups and downs, right? So hopefully you enjoyed the show, and I was out of podcasting for a few weeks there. I had to take a little hiatus. But for those of you who wish to learn more about this spiritual stuff and spirit awareness, definitely, I tell you all the time, but subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe to iTunes if you're there, but check out my spirit community because we do a lot of talking about these things, or get on my social media, my Facebook page, whatever. You can go to keystothespiritworld.com, upper right hand corner, click on spirit community, and you can join, and we do some really cool stuff. And for those of you who are listening and just really want to learn more about spirit communication, because I am finishing up my class and working on that, on my spirit communication class that will be coming up soon, and I will be getting into a lot of more detail on connecting with spirits and different ways to feel and separate your give your brain enough knowledge to understand what feelings are your physical body and what feelings are your spiritual body, and understanding the way that spirits communicate and the way that you're communicating with the spiritual realm. I'm really going to get into some nitty-gritty detail. There are systems to this. There are systems that are very helpful. That's why I do the classes. So stay tuned for that if you are interested. That will be coming up soon. But until next time, hopefully you have the most amazing day, and sometime maybe I can figure out like a spirit index pie chart I can place somewhere, and then we can just check it. You can check it now and again and see where you're falling if you're having a weird day. And that's another thing. When you're on my social media, most of the time it's like, are things going weird this week? And then I've had that happen where I've already posted an energy report. Usually, if you're wondering if things are going weird, there's some wave that has come in. So, and also if you're wondering more about that, I have lots of podcasts, videos on energy waves on my YouTube channel, so you can check those out too. All right, guys, have the most amazing day. Aloha.
Black Friday is coming, and for the adults in your life who love the coolest toys, well, there's something for them this year too. Bartesian is the premier craft cocktail maker that automatically makes more than 60 seasonal and classic cocktails, each in under 30 seconds at the push of a button. And right now, Bartesian is having a huge site-wide sale. You can get $100 off any cocktail maker or cocktail maker bundle when you spend $400 or more. So, if the cocktail lover in your life has been good this year, or the right kind of bad, get them Bartesian. At the push of a button, make bar-quality cosmopolitans, martinis, Manhattans, and more. All in just 30 seconds. All for $100 off. Amazing toys aren't just for kids. Get $100 off a cocktail maker when you spend $400 through Cyber Monday. Visit bartesian.com/cocktail. That's BARTESIAN.com/cocktail.
Hey, it is Ryan Seacrest. There's something so thrilling about playing Chumba Casino. Maybe it's the simple reminder that with a little luck, anything is possible. ChumbaCasino.com has hundreds of social casino-style games to choose from with new game releases each week. Play for free anytime, anywhere for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. Join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply.